Hello and welcome to my review of the Meaco desktop fan. So I've had this fan for about 4 years and I believe this is one of their earlier models that they released. Heard really good stories about this fan. It's all up on social media, so I thought I would give it a bit of a test. So let's have a look at how accurate the temperature reading is. So at the moment my external thermometer is reading as 27.5 degrees. This reading is 27 degrees, so yeah, that's pretty accurate. Pretty happy with that. To be honest, I never really look at the temperature. If the room feels hot, then I'll turn on the fan. I don't think, oh, I've hit over 25 degrees, I've got to turn on the fan. But yeah, really useful function to have if you're interested in how warm the room is. This is the remote control, so nice circular pad. Really fits quite easily into the hand, and that can attach here using magnets. Good thing about this is you can hit the buttons on the fan, it's at face level, you don't have to duck down, whereas with this, you know, you're kind of crouching down, you're tapping, you know, it's dark, you know, once the LED display's off, but actually you can see the glowing power button. So yeah, I prefer to hit buttons at eye level rather than bending down. So at the moment that fan is turned on at level 1. If we turn it up to level 2, just in the fan speed, so the spectrum of the fan speeds goes up to 12. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really quiet. Comparing this to the newer version, I would say this, you can hear a bit of whirring from the motor, but it's not significant. Okay, and then if we boost it in increments of 1, let's go halfway. Yeah, so it's halfway, number 6, number 7, you can definitely hear something coming from the fan. But actually I would say that the fan noise is probably more the winds hitting my ears rather than the fan itself. So nothing from the motor, no rattling, nothing. You know, it's made of plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap. It's quite well built, so happy with that. Okay, now let's turn that up a notch to the full max. Number 12, yeah, you can definitely hear that. And oh wow, you can feel that force. I'm standing right in front of it and you can feel the force hitting your face. It's really, really cool. In fact, it's so powerful I need to turn that back to number 2. And then this does have oscillating left and right, which I'm doing now, and you can oscillate it up and down. So there aren't different levels of oscillation, it's either oscillation on or oscillation off, whereas on the newer model you do get the options of 3 different levels. So the other model I do have here, which I will review separately. So let's just move that up the way for now, and then let's check whether it actually cools the room or not. So at the moment we're on 27 degrees, which is what it was on a few moments ago, and it is still on 27 degrees now. So a lot of people believe that if you have fans in the room it will cool the room. It doesn't. It's just the wind that makes an impact on your face, your body, that feeling that you get. That's the cooling effect that you get, but it doesn't actually lower the temperature of the room. Really good thing about this is it has a handle on the top, which you can see, which is kind of like a nice leatherette handle. Still got the sticker on there. So like I said, I've had this for 4 years, and one thing I've noticed is there is a bit of yellowing on the plastic here. So that's something to be aware of, and I don't actually leave this out all year round. During the autumn and winter I'll pack this away so it's not really in direct sunlight all of the time. Yeah, there's a bit of yellowing around the base, so That's something to be aware of. You can contrast that to the actual white plastic which is at the front here. So I guess the good thing is that the yellowing tends to happen around the back. And just spin that back around again. But you don't really see any yellowing on the front parts, which is more reassuring but not ideal. So let's turn off the oscillation. Turn off. Now, one thing about this fan is it does make a beeping noise every time you press the remote. So say for example if I want to turn it off, it makes that beeping noise. There is no way to turn off the beeping. So if you've got sleeping children in the house, the fan's in their room, they're fast asleep, you want to turn it off in the middle of the night, then there is a potential chance that they will get woken up by the beeping noise. One thing to also be aware of is the cable length. So that's the cable from end to end. I've got my electrical points in the corner of the room like most people have. This is kind of halfway across my room. On the floor, if you were mounting this on a desk, that will take up some height that the cable has to travel, as well as the table depth. So just bear that in mind. You may have to get an extension cable depending on where your electrical sockets are. But yeah, I've had this fan for 4 years. To be honest, comparing it to the newer fan, there's not much difference in performance. What I would say is the added benefit is the fact that the remote control, it does make a noise on the older model compared to the new one. So you can buy the newer model for approximately the same price. If you're looking for a deal, I would go for the newer model, to be fair. Yeah, just for that quietness. But in terms of performance, yeah, both exactly the same. In terms of fan noise, not much to it. I would probably say that the fan noise at a lower speed setting on the newer model. Let's just put them side by side. The newer model, probably on fan speed 1 and 2, is quieter, but after that from levels 3 to 12 it's about the same. You're not going to notice much difference. Looking at the aesthetics, I would probably say that the new one is more modern looking. You know, you've got the base which is slightly different. You've got the buttons which are more physical buttons, which I like to see in comparison to the touch controls on the older model. So that's a big plus in my book, because as you can see the buttons are all blacked out, you don't see anything. It's not until you actually press the on button where your options start to appear. But on this model here, your buttons are always present. The colour of the fan, you've got a grey colour here, white colour here, so if you want it to blend in against your white walls like I have, you can see here, yeah, the older model does blend in better than the newer model. In terms of fan size, they look, I'd say the fan on the newer one is a little bit bigger. I think the new one's about 10 inches. Not sure about the older one, I'll have to look up the spec on that. Power brick wise, yep, the size of the power brick. Not large, not huge, but not small either. So if you're looking to fit this into your socket, your extension sockets, then the good thing is it's quite slim, so it will fit amongst your other ones here. So yeah, I've got 4 in a row here. I would say that if you've got one of these smart plugs here, if you were to plug that in there and then you set the timer on your app to turn it on and off, it doesn't actually work because they're all touch controls. There's no physical on or off buttons on the fan. you know, like with the old school ones, you manually turn it on the fan, and then your app on your smart plug would control when the current will flow through to your electrical device to turn it on and off. So because they're all touch controls these days, that's something to be aware of, is your smart plug won't work. You'd have to control the timer using the remote control. So there is a timer button here, which I think goes up to 12 hours in increments of 1. So, I mean, that's good enough for me. I don't really need to control it from the app. So yeah, that's basically the old Meaco and a bit of a comparison side by side with the new one. So just one final thought is, let's just have a final look at the temperature. So 27 degrees, which is what it was a few moments ago, about 10 minutes ago. So let's check for accuracy. The old one, 28 degrees, so only half a degree off. So yeah, I would say that's fairly accurate. The newer model, oh dear, 25 degrees, that's like a good 3 degrees out, so not good. But yeah, I don't really look at the temperature, you just feel how hot the room is. And then if it's hot, then turn on your fan. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope it gives you enough information to decide which fan to buy. See you later.